Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I'm Marty Mix, and I'm president of the Golden Valley League of Women Voters. And this forum tonight is sponsored by both the Golden Valley League and the Minneapolis League of Women Voters. The League is a nonprofit organization, volunteer, of both men and women. We do not support or oppose candidates or political parties. The purpose of the forum is for candidates to meet face-to-face and discuss the issues facing Hennepin County so that voters can make informed decisions. The two candidates that get the most votes in the August 14th primary will go on to run in the general election, which is November 6th. All the candidates were invited, and however, one has withdrawn from the race. That's Don Samuels. His name will still be on the ballot, but he has withdrawn. It is our goal to treat each of the candidates with fairness and courtesy, and the views expressed by the candidates are theirs alone. Hennepin County Commission is divided into 7 districts. The District 2 seat covers, as I said, Plymouth, East Plymouth, northeast Minneapolis to St. Anthony, and then across over Golden Valley and Medicine Lake. And we currently don't have a accurate District 2 map. Their website has not been updated for the county. This is a seat that Mark Stenglein had. He had resigned in the spring, so this seat has been empty. And so these candidates will be running for a seat that only has a 2-year term. This is a special election. After that, when they run again, it will be for a 4-year term. The commissioner's salary is about $97,000. The county commissioners are responsible for authorizing resolutions, hiring the county administrator, and adopting the annual budget, which for 2012 is just over $1.6 billion. That's with a B. This covers our county public works, public safety, the library system, and health and human services for over 1.1 million residents. I'm now pleased to introduce Jennifer Schaefer, who will be our moderator tonight, and assisting her with sorting questions will be Martha Allen from the Minneapolis League. They do not live in District 2. Also helping with the timing will be Jean Andre, not in District 2, and Mary Adair. So this is to ensure fairness for the forum. Thank you so much. Jennifer? Mary, though, is the league member here.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Schaefer, and my mic should be working. I wanted to welcome you all today. We want to take a minute to introduce the candidates. Starting here at left is Steve Daler, Rolf Erickson, Linda Higgins. Let's back up. Wait, no, we'll come back to you. Tonia Johnson, Kathleen Murdock, Paula Pentel, Roger Smithrud, and Blong, and Leslie Davis. Welcome. Yay, he made it. All right, so, and I'm just going to go over some of the mechanics tonight and helping kind of keep the flow going. We have a 90-minute, or a little bit less now, event, and we're going to do opening statements. We're going to have time for about 5 or 6 questions, believe it or not, and then we're going to have closing remarks. So that's how the setup is. We've drawn orders. Sure. Yeah, it's on the screen. Do you want me to speak into the microphone? Yeah.
With no speaker.
Is that not working for you? Is that why you can't hear? Or you?
It's low.
Yeah. Well, good. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. I can do this. Thank you so much for that feedback. I wasn't hearing it well either. So, in the meantime, we're gonna have opening statements. We also have questions you can write, and so you can submit those. And there's a league member walking the floor, and we're gonna be sorting them into bulk categories to try to distill what the sentiment here is in the room. We're gonna also monitor for no personal references or degradations. We're just gonna stick to the issues, which we do here at the league, and then you will have time again for closing statements. So we're going to start with opening statements, and let's do that. And you have 90 seconds for that, and she's going to give you the mark at 15 seconds left, and then stop. Okay, so opening statements start with, we drew for that.
not an
Right.
opening statement.
And so we've got, as you recall, Linda Higgins drew number 1.
I'm sorry, I in the information that I received, there was supposed to be an opening question for us to do it. And it would be what?
Why are you running for commissioner and what are your qualifications?
Are we going to do that? Or oh, okay. I thought they were going to do opening statement. Okay, so opening question is, why are you running for Hennepin County Commissioner, and what are your qualifications?
Good evening. I'm Linda Higgins. I live in North Minneapolis. I'm a Hennepin County resident since January of 1973, when I moved here from a farm in Iowa where I grew up. I am currently the state senator who represents North and downtown Minneapolis. I have a 16-year career in the Minnesota Senate, and during that time I was the chair of the Public Safety Budget Division and the lead negotiator on public safety issues. I also chaired the State and Local Government Committee, where I worked closely with city and county staff and elected officials. I believe that I can do a great job as a county commissioner because I have worked collaboratively with the governments who Hennepin County most often works with, the cities in Hennepin County, the state, and the elected officials who represent them.
All right, going to number 2, which drew as Blong.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Blong Yang, and this is the first time that I'm running for public office. There is a current Hennepin County Commissioner who has served almost as long as I've been alive. Our former county commissioner served for almost 16 years before resigning. These positions don't open up much. A woman asked me, for your first time, why are you running for such a big position? The short answer, why not? I was born in a refugee camp. I came to America when I was 3 years old. Growing up as the oldest son of political refugees, I saw my parents struggle to put food on the table and to keep my siblings and me out of trouble. We were fortunate enough to receive public assistance, better known as welfare. Not ashamed of that at all. I made the most of opportunities with a lot of help and with county services to get to here. And here means being an attorney for the past 11 years. I am sure that the opportunity for an education and the opportunity to run for public office would not have been present for me or my parents in our countries of birth. Only in America. I am mindful of this, and I'm grateful for the opportunities. I am running for this office because I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines watching the same people move from office to office while our family's quality of life has not improved much in the last decade. I believe that it's time for change. I want an effective and efficient government that gets things done. I want to see things get done. I want a county government that contributes to increasing the quality of life for all of us. Thank you.
All right, now to Kathleen.
My desire to serve as Hennepin County Commissioner has really grown out of 3 things. My master's degree in social work from the University of Minnesota, and I've had a career in Hennepin County that spanned over 30 years. And I also want to make a difference in improving the quality of life for all of our residents in Hennepin County. I think what I really bring to the table here is my knowledge of county government. I've worked in 2 major departments in the county in administrative and policy roles, and I currently serve on the Hennepin County Capital Budget Task Force. I know Hennepin County, the organization, the issues, and the departments, and can really hit the ground running. My passion for the county led me to run for this same seat 10 years ago against the very strong incumbent Mark Stenglein that was mentioned recently. And I did very well in that race, getting 44% of the vote. After that experience, I went on to seek out more local government experience, and I served on the Plymouth Planning Commission for 2 years and went on to run for Plymouth City Council, where I was for 5 years. And we worked hard in Plymouth to keep the tax levy flat. We made tough decisions about cutting spending. and postponing or eliminating projects, and I will do the same in the county.
All right, thank you. Leslie's next, number 4.
It's a poem, A Bag of Tools, by R.L. Sharp. Isn't it strange that princes and kings and clowns that caper and sword that strings, and common people like you and me are builders for eternity? Each is given a bag of tools, a shapeless mass, and a book of rules, and each must make, ere life is flown, a stumbling block or a stepping stone. Do you want to put more stumbling blocks in front of yourself and future generations? Or do you want to provide a stepping stone to a future with a great economy, good jobs for all who want to work, less crime, lower taxes, and a world where we don't give away our valuable money and we don't allow government to spend and squander our hard-earned money? Electing me commissioner will give us a once-in-a-lifetime chance to set things on the proper course with my plans for water, energy, money, health, and education. If you elect any other candidates, you'll get a nice person as your commissioner, but someone who won't mean beans in the scheme of things for our financial future. Future generations are counting on you to elect me, Leslie Davis, as your county commissioner to provide a stepping stone for them. Don't miss this chance to support my campaign and elect me, because you may not get this chance again. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here.
All right, thank you. Paula's next.
Thank you. I'm Paula Pentel, and Hennepin County District 2 is where the economic and quality of life issues that I've devoted my life to bridge across these diverse communities. District 2 needs a commissioner who has the perspective and experience to effectively balance the issues of all the communities within the boundaries of this district. I grew up in North Minneapolis. Also, as a child, my mother received welfare benefits. I graduated from North Community High School and have maintained strong ties to my North Side community through both my children's activities and by serving on the West Broadway Area Coalition, a stakeholder group working to create an inviting and viable West Broadway corridor. At the same time, as a member of the Golden Valley City Council for the past 8 years and 12 before that on the Planning Commission, I also understand how the needs and challenges of suburban communities interrelate with those of the cities. I can bridge those communities and have on-the-ground experience working effectively in a nonpartisan manner. My education in urban studies and geography and my experience teaching the history and the geography of the Twin Cities, as well as urban environmental courses, and overseeing the local internships of hundreds of students in local agencies across the Twin Cities has helped to strengthen my knowledge of our entire urban mosaic and how it fits together. No other candidate has my unique blend of city roots and urban and suburban experience that is necessary to balance the needs of all of our District 2 citizens. I listen and I work for best outcomes. Thank you.
All right, and just a reminder to hold applause. It'll take all night otherwise. Rolf is next.
Thank you. Much of our government is broken, and it's big and getting bigger. My wife Jean and I decided that if we were to make a difference together, the best thing that we could do is to have me run for office at a local level, because we believe in government from the bottom up, not the top down. I too have a long history of working for the government, only my history is as a private contractor. And I contract the cities to do their assessing work in western Hennepin County. As such, I'm on the front lines every day listening to people with their concerns about government and their concerns about taxes specifically. So, one of my main thrusts, if I'm elected, would be to reform property taxes. It's a system that's very cumbersome and it needs to be fixed. There are other portions of the government also that have the same problems. And I think that what we need to do is get government employees on board to make government more efficient, deliver better services to the citizens, and to take the slack out of the government and make it work for all of you. And that's what I pledge to do, is to work for all the people in the district. Thank you.
All right, next we have Steve.
Thank you, and thank you to the League for putting this on. My name is Steve Daler, and I would like to be your next county commissioner here in Hennepin County. Back in when I was a young kid, I was complaining to my mother that the government was always constantly in my face, in my job, and doing things that I didn't believe were the right things. So she said, quit complaining to me. Just go out and do something about it. So I did. I ran for city council in St. Joseph, Minnesota. I was on the city council for 16 years. Ran for mayor. I was a mayor for 2 years, and a seat opened up in the legislature, and I ran for that, and I served in the legislature for 10 years. So my experience at doing public service gave me the inspiration that I don't want to stop doing public service. So this is my forte into the county level of government, and I live in St. Anthony. I have a daughter that lives in northeast Minneapolis and one that lives out in Aspen, Colorado. But this is where I live now, and this is where I would like to serve. So appreciate your vote on August 14th.
All right, next we have Tonia.
Thank you, and I would also like to thank the League for hosting tonight's debate. I am Tonia Johnson, and I'm running for Hennepin County Commissioner because it provides an opportunity for me to do something that I enjoy doing the most, and that's serving the people of District 2. That service includes making sure that everyone that there's an improvement in the quality of life for everyone, that our communities and neighborhoods are thriving, that we all feel safe in our communities and we can move about in our communities, that we have access to public transportation and we can move through and about the district. I'm also running because in the history of the Hennepin County Board of Commissioners, it's 160 years old, and there has not once been any person of color ever elected, and here we are in 2012. So when I was asked to run, I also said, why not? Why not? I've already served on the County Board of Commissioners working as policy aide for Hennepin County Commissioner Mark Steenline. So I know firsthand what it takes to get the job done. I'm very versed in policy, writing resolutions, and crafting new policies to make stuff work. My background includes a unique blend of corporate, nonprofit, government, and currently I run my own business. So if you elect me on August 14th, I will be able to hit the ground running, and not only that, I will be able to bring new ideas of freshness to that county board, which is definitely needed. My top challenge for me would be to reduce the number of disparities that currently exist in county services. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to Roger Smithrud.
Well, I'd like to start with thanking the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this. The question, I believe, is why am I running for Hennepin County Commissioner? Well, it started with a lot of unnecessary, excessive orders from the city of Minneapolis, which basically boiled down to is the city wanted to turn around and clean up the neighborhoods around the vacant housing because of the copper being stolen out of the buildings, houses being occupied that were supposed to be vacant. But they also attacked the elderly, my neighbors, and me by writing orders, would not give extensions, would not work with the people, period. And that, I was told, came from the city council. So that started my interest in politics right there. I was tired of being the pawn, the person pushed around. I started studying exactly how to work through the system, helping my neighbors, trying to get things changed. And then I started looking into it even further, and where did the money come from to feed this engine that was not working right? It was coming from the Hennepin County Commissioners, and it was allowing the city to do things that weren't right. That's why I'm running. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move into the question section that we've gathered from the audience. We are going to start with and do alphabetical order, and then you're going to rotate to the person, and each person will take turns on which ones they'll go first. We don't have time for everyone to start on a question. We'd be here, again, for quite a lengthy time. So with that, I've got the first question from the audience. There was a number around this subject, so please keep filtering your questions up on the scribe here, and she'll forward them forward. So this first question starts with Leslie, and that will be, describe your position on light rail transit in terms of a preferred route for the Bottineau project, as well as the co-location of the light rail on the southwest corridor. Remember, you have 1 minute this round.
Is that me first?
Yep, you first, followed by Steve. And
You know, we keep building things that we can't afford, and people's incomes are going down, and we have to subsidize these rail lines. And I'm the president and founder of the Earth Protector, so I believe in conservation and good transportation and efficiency. But I believe in buying what we can afford and spending money that we can afford. Light rail needs to be subsidized. I think the fare box on the Hiawatha line that people are raving about is a real success. I think the fare box covers about 35 or 38% of the cost of running that operation. So you've got to dig in your pocket all the time in order to support the light rail that replaced a wonderful bus service. We used to have wonderful buses going north and south in Minneapolis, and now they go this way in order to hook up with the light rail. So light rail is not the greatest thing since applesauce, and you need to take a look at it as to whether it's even appropriate for this corridor. I haven't looked at it, but I know that we're loaded with debt, and we can't afford any more.
All right, the question goes now to Steve Daler.
My position on the light rail, the county board has been working on that corridor for a while already, and I certainly, as a member of the board, would not scrap that whole idea. I believe in light rail. I think they should start running light rail between here and Fargo so that we can move people around and get people where they want to go. I do believe that the money that we pay to get onto the light rail doesn't cover very much, and as a matter of fact, I would be in favor of not charging at all, so that people can just get on those things and move them. Public transportation is the way to move people, get them around. And all the money it takes to deal with the money that we collect, I think almost costs more than the money that we collect. So let them do it for free.
Next is Rolf Erickson.
I believe that the county commissioners don't have a lot of say over the money that goes into the light rail. It's a Metro Council function for most of this. As far as the routes that have been chosen, I'm in favor of the routes that are being built now and existing. Obviously, it would be poor economics to take them out, but I think that they need to prove themselves to be the best for the people and the most economical. So my stance on public transportation is that we spend the dollars the wisest way that we can do that, whether it be the buses or the light rail. And until the light rail actually proves to be the most economical way to handle people, I would say that the buses should continue to carry the major part of the load. Thank you.
All right, next is Linda Higgins.
I was part of the group of elected officials who tried to figure out the puzzle of where the Bottineau line should go. We started with about 30 different routes, and we finally got it down to 3, two that would go north-south through North Minneapolis and one that would go through Theodore Wirth Park. I really wanted it to go to North Minneapolis. I wanted to be able to provide that amenity to our residents so that people could use that rail line to get to jobs and services that they needed to do. What we ran across was the problem that putting a rail line through a built-up city will do. And the choice that was presented to us ultimately was taking 120 families' homes. I couldn't do that in these hard economic times. So I did vote to put it through Theodore Wirth Park. I know that there will have to be dozens or more community meetings to work out the details of this.
Next is Tonia Johnson.
Light rail, the Bottineau. Well, I can tell you, I am not for any other routes. I think the county board did a disservice to the community. I really do. Okay, and I know how these public works projects are, and it is a complicated issue. It's not an easy one. However, the county board has already voted on it, and they voted on D1, which will go through Theodore Wirth. However, I would prefer that the county would have taken a little bit more time and done a more in-depth analysis as to what street, what node would have been the best route for this particular transportation project. I attended many of the meetings, and they've been going on now for about 2 years, and more are coming up. But it is what it is, and we have it. And so I guess really the question should be, what will we do with it now? How will we encourage economic development? How will we employ residents from the community? Those are the conversations we need to be having because it's already been voted on.
All right, Kathleen Murdock.
Well, I know that this has been a very controversial issue, as many transit projects are. North Minneapolis didn't want it. I know that Golden Valley City Council voted that it not go through Golden Valley. And the county has since recommended the Golden Valley route to the Met Council. I believe that, there are many competing transit issues in Hennepin County, and I still have not seen a real coordinated transit plan for the whole county, and that's what I would like to see. And I know, in Plymouth, we worked for years just trying to get a third lane on 494. So, and the money is very limited. So I would like to see further study on this issue.
Paula Pentel.
Thank you. The Bottineau Transitway represents an investment that, under current numbers, is about $70 million a mile. I was one of the members of the City Council that voted 3-2 to delay the decision on choosing the Route D1, which goes actually through Sahaki Park and Mary Hills Nature Area adjacent to those, and then into Theodore Worth Park. It runs through a small sliver of Golden Valley. I came late to the Political Action Committee, the Bottineau PAC. Initially, they didn't have anyone from Golden Valley because they weren't considering any Golden Valley routes. When I first went, they wouldn't let me vote. Then when Golden Valley looked like it was an option, suddenly I could vote. I think that there has not been the political will on the north side to be able to talk about if indeed transit-oriented development is a wonderful thing, then I think that it would behoove us as elected officials to be able to talk positively about the benefits of this particular route. Although it's passed at the county board, there will still be decisions made in terms of how that works within the city of Golden Valley.
All right, next is Roger Smithrud.
I attended some of those meetings for the North Minneapolis route, and one of them was running right down Penn Avenue. Well, Penn Avenue wasn't wide enough. They're going to have to take out one whole side of the street. And then every other block was, you couldn't turn. So it was cutting traffic, everything. It was not planned out well enough, at least in the plans and what was being offered. What my opinion is that the idea of light rail in Minneapolis and the suburbs for this district, it would be a benefit, but it's got to be well planned out. And I think it was an issue that they were pushing to try and get the federal funds that were available in order to have it paid for to do it. So my opinion is I have to look into it farther, but it's already been somewhat decided.
All right, next is Blong Yang.
I am a big proponent of light rail, but I think the county needs to take a few steps back and look at it comprehensively to really create some transit plan that actually makes sense and that isn't piecemeal, a Band-Aid of sorts, because at this point, I mean, that's kind of what it is. And because of that, a lot of folks within the line are feeling the pain. The Central Corridor, a lot of University Avenue businesses are feeling the pain of that, especially just the delays that keep on going on. And I think that's something that we have to really consider. I mean, you looked at the 35W bridge and the incentives they put on that bridge for people to finish that quickly, and that really helped a lot of businesses. And I think we need to think about that. You know, I think the city of Golden Valley did its part to take care of its residents, but I'm a little bit concerned that we will be dumping this route onto North Minneapolis without really considering the interests of the North Minneapolis residents on Penn Avenue, and I think we should consider that strongly.
Great, we're going to go to the next set of question here, and I also encourage you to submit your own questions. We've got a question taker here. You can write that down and it'll funnel up to me here. We are going to start with Steve Daler this time and then go forward. The question is, what is your vision for Weber Park Library? Would you work to expand the hours or move forward with a capital plan?
Well, libraries are certainly one of the things that the county should be involved in, and one of the important aspects of the county. There's a Hennepin County Library just right near where I live in St. Anthony. When it comes to libraries, we're talking about education and our children, and there really is nothing more important. When it comes to libraries, I would support the most common sense approach to getting them out wherever they're needed.
All right, Rolf Erickson.
I'm not familiar with this issue. Would you repeat the question again, please?
It just says, what's your vision for Weber Park Library? And would you work to expand the hours to move forward?
I honestly don't know what the hours are there, and I don't know anything at all about that particular library, so I couldn't say what a vision is for it. I'm sorry. I like libraries. I think they're very necessary. I think that there could be some ways of possibly combining school libraries with other libraries, making things more efficient. But as far as this particular one, I can't offer a plan.
All right. Next question to Linda Higgins. Or same question.
Weber Library is in North Minneapolis, right on Victory Memorial Drive. It is currently open 3 days a week, and the county has been looking at building a new building and run into trouble acquiring the parcels of land to do that. And so in Mark Stenglein's last meeting as a commissioner, they withdrew that proposal and then decided to just do $750,000 in repairs to this very tiny little library that serves an awful lot of people. I would like to go back to the drawing board and try and figure out how to get an adequately sized library for that community that desperately needs it.
Next, or same question to Tonia Johnson.
Yeah, Weber Library has been on the plate on the county board for a while, and plans were delayed. And if elected, I would revisit those plans and really come up with how can we build a state-of-the-art library for that area. That area has a lot of children, youth, seniors. It's very densely populated, and it's important to make sure that this library goes up. I would really look into it and figure out a plan B then. If the county could not acquire the parcel of lands that they wanted, what else could they do? But we still have to get this library built.
All right. Kathleen Murdock.
Well, I agree that, we need to have libraries to serve the residents throughout all of District 2, and I think it's particularly critical in North Minneapolis, where I think many residents rely on those libraries for the use of computers, for job searches, for all kinds of things. And we need to find a solution with hours. I know the county has cut hours in some of their libraries, and to the detriment of, I think, many residents, and that does need to be re-examined, and we need to make sure that they're meeting the needs of the residents.
All right, Paula Pentel.
Thank you. The Weber Library has had a troubled past over the past number of years, being closed for a while, being reopened, having this $2 million potential bit of money to build a new library. And in that last act, what Stenglein did was take away that capital money, and I think left $500,000 for is it $750 for remodel. I would push hard to get the $2 million in capital funds back. There isn't even a meeting room at that library, and the hours are pitifully short for that neighborhood. I think that it would be possible with $2 million to do some additions potentially to the existing building, to pop some windows through. There isn't a clear window through to that building, and libraries are an incredible equalizing asset in neighborhoods and in communities. And this library in particular, I give hats off to the folks who've been working hard and keeping this library and ideas around it in the forefront, because it is a very important community asset.
Roger Smithrud.
Well, this issue was brought up to me before. I haven't had a chance to actually look into it like I'd really want to, because where I grew up, I was about 800 feet from that library. I spent half of my time there. I really like to see this open more hours to start with. Look at what we can do to expand it. I remember being told about the park before I was born, how nice it was, with the carriage routes going right over the river or the creek, which used to go through the lake. But what can we do about getting a better library, one to be proud of, and that's what I'd like to see about working towards. It's been brought up to my attention by many people already. I'd like to see the $2 million for it, but meanwhile, until then, I'm hoping that they can do well with what funding's Mark Stinglin and the other commissioners allotted for the moment. Thank you.
Blong Yang.
With regard to this library, I just have 2 words: build it. We can build the Twin Stadium with all these taxing situations that we have, and come on, seriously, a library? I mean, I think we're kidding ourselves if we can't build that. You know, with regard to the library hours, I mean, in a civilized society such as ours, we can't do everything we can to keep the hours regular and open, the libraries. I mean, that's just ridiculous to me. And I think our priorities are a little bit off here. I mean, if we're going to build sports stadiums in the billions of dollars, really, we can't do this for libraries. That makes no sense.
All right, Leslie Davis.
I would open the Weber Library from 10 every morning until 8, Monday to Friday, and then from 9 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. And where I would get the money to do that is I would cancel the armored vehicle that Hennepin County has accepted from Homeland Security. That's going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to maintain and train people for. And what in the world would Hennepin County need an armored vehicle for at this stage of the game? They've got cops and guns and clubs and tear gas and mace and whatnot to whip the people with. So I'd use the armored vehicle money to keep the library open just as long as people want to use it.
All right, we're on to our third question here, and we are going to start with Rolf Erickson and go forward as we have. And that is, as Hennepin County Commissioner, how would you support the Emerson North Housing Project?
Say that again, please.
As Hennepin County Commissioner, how would you support the Emerson North Housing Project? Sir,
I'm sorry, I still can't hear you.
you can't hear me?
No.
It's the last part he can't hear, the
I get the
support,
last-
the what?
How would you support the Emerson North Housing Project as Hennepin County Commissioner?
I'm not getting your last word.
How would you support the Emerson North Housing Project?
The housing project. I would need to have more background on that. It seems like all our questions here are aimed at a specific area of this district, which goes all the way from Plymouth over to St. Anthony, and I have to say that I'm not familiar with that either. I'm sorry.
All right, Linda Higgins.
The Emerson North project, as it is originally proposed, is 48 units of housing in a residential neighborhood, 4 stories high. It is too dense. It is too large. It needs to come down into a size that can fit into a neighborhood. This is a Victorian neighborhood. Plans that have been shown to the community show a building that does not fit into that community. And the proposers of the project have been unwilling to work with the people most immediately affected by it, and that is the people who live in that immediate neighborhood. When they received opposition from the immediate neighbors, they then went and talked to a larger group of people and then seemed to be going forward with that. There is a compromise to be made, and maybe we'll get there.
All right, next is Tonia Johnson.
Okay, the Emerson North project, a couple of issues with the Emerson North. What is proposed, what I've seen last, is a 40-unit, single-family type structure that is supposed to house low-income families with case management service and also families who have been displaced because of the tornado. So would I support a project like this? Yes, I would support a project like this. Anytime we are in an area that is in need of affordable housing, particularly after the tornado, I met with the people, the developers of this project. I looked at the drawings, the sketchings. There have been several community meetings around this. And, you know, is it a thing of aesthetics? That could be compromised, but yes, I would support this because this area has been impacted the greatest, and this area has the most need. And the role of a county commissioner is to improve the quality of life of its residents, and that includes making sure people have affordable housing. So yes, I would support it. I would look at other plans and tweak it, but I would support this project.
Kathleen Murdock.
Well, I really support affordable housing, and I just want to say that the need for affordable housing doesn't just exist in North Minneapolis. It also exists in Golden Valley and Plymouth, and as a Plymouth Council member, we worked hard to create affordable housing with a number of other, you know, entities like Common Bond, and it's I don't know a lot about the Emerson project specifically as far as how it's going to be funded. And I would think if there's some density issues, there would be zoning issues that come into play, and there would need to be, you know, a public process involved. And there needs to be some compromises made. And, you know, we've dealt with many controversial projects in the western part of this district as well, and I would bring that experience to this issue.
All right, Paula Pentel.
Thank you. I am somewhat familiar with this project. I saw it briefly in an earlier iteration as they came before the Planning, Zoning, and Development Committee at the West Broadway Coalition. I support having workforce housing, and I know that within the county, one of the places that they lag is workforce housing for families. Having facilities for families where you've got some supportive services can be a great asset for the community. Just across the street here from Golden Valley City Hall, we have a Common Bond project that has family housing, and it has been a great addition to our community. Families are moving up and out of poverty, using that housing, having that safe place and that safe haven. I think that it's a neighborhood issue at this point. I don't think that there's really, aside from the county having these goals to promote affordability in housing across the region, that really this is an issue for the neighborhood, the city of Minneapolis, and I know they are seeking some tax credits in order to build this project. But I support having affordable housing across the district.
Roger Smithrud.
Well, I remember attending some of the preliminary meetings on it, and it didn't fit in with the neighborhood. It didn't leave the impression across the board to the neighbors that it would improve the neighborhood. It left the impression that it was going to bring down the neighborhood even more than what it was. Though everybody was giving me the impression that for the idea of the project, but the particular project, the way it was set up, it wasn't going to fly. And that's about all I really know about it. It's been a couple of years since I've actually looked into that project, and I haven't heard anything much about it lately. So I guess that's all I can say on that.
Blong Yang.
When we talk about affordable housing, the easy answer is who isn't for affordable housing. But, you know, when you think about a project such as this, I mean, I have to just remind folks that about 20 years ago, the Home and Consent Decree, the purpose of that was to kind of disperse concentration of poverty. And, you know, if we just go back to that, I mean, we kind of haven't learned the lessons of our history. And so I definitely think, you know, as one of my opponents have talked about, this is a neighborhood issue first and foremost, but then it becomes a city issue. And, you know, at the point in which the county has to make a decision on this, I mean, I would be much more in favor of scattering affordable housing across the county. That would be, you know, a better route for myself.
Leslie Davis.
Well, as a county commissioner, I wouldn't mind micromanaging certain things, but it certainly wouldn't be a housing project. That's the responsibility of the city with all their housing codes and the community that advises the city on it. I'd micromanage areas like making sure that when a kid goes goes from 6th grade to 7th grade, that they know how to read at the 4th grade level at least. Or I micromanage and make sure that the Hennepin County Medical Center is offering all types of alternative medicines to their patients or their clients, but I wouldn't micromanage a housing project in a neighborhood. That's not what they pay county commissioners $100,000 a year for, have an office budget of $330,000 to micromanage housing projects in neighborhoods. That's not my style.
Steve Daler.
Thank you. I'm coming at it from roughly about the same angle. My name is Steve Daler, and I'm running for Hennepin County Commissioner. And this issue sounds like a Minneapolis neighborhood issue, and I think that's where it should remain. A lot of the questions are going to be talking about issues that are current now. I'm running to deal with issues that are in the future. I plan on using common sense when it comes to decisions that I have to make, dealing with issues that the county is involved in.
All right, we finished that round. We are on to the, let's see, fourth question. It's going to start with Linda Higgins, and that is, how can the county capitalize on the coming changes in healthcare?
The Affordable Care Act, which some people call Obamacare, will give us the opportunity to reform the delivery of health care and help us to build more healthy communities. One of the most important roles of county government is to administer health and human services. And as commissioner, I would be very interested in playing a very large role in the governing of Hennepin County Medical Center. It is our great safety net hospital, our trauma center, our level 1 trauma center. It needs to be a world-class health center so that our Hennepin County residents have the opportunity to be as safe as they can, as healthy as they can. Healthcare is a passion of mine. I have served 12 years on the Health and Human Services Committee in the Minnesota Senate. I'm ready to go on this issue.
Tonia Johnson.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, as I filed it away here. How can the county capitalize on the coming changes in healthcare?
There are a lot of ways the county can capitalize on the change that's going to occur in a couple of more years. And one area will be senior care. And right now what they have in place, they do screenings to see if some of our seniors who cannot afford their current health care plans, they will supplement those health care plans. And they can, I think what really needs to be done is just making sure that all people can have access to quality care. Seniors, women and children, families. And I think the county can capitalize on that, making sure that their services are in line with the changes that are about to come. And that will be in about 2 more years. I mean, there's not too much really to go with a question like that, other than making sure that the county is still leading the path in making sure that we're mitigating disparities, because even though the question's asking how can we capitalize on health care, that's one thing, but making sure we don't have disparities that we currently have now is another. So I would like to see those disparities addressed and mitigated.
Kathleen Murdock.
I think one of the main roles that the county can play in this arena is really serving as advocates for the residents who are uninsured or underinsured, and educating them about the changes and how they can access services. The county does play a large role in the public health arena, and we do operate the medical center that provides care to everybody, and that's a good entryway, to work with those clients on the changes in the healthcare system and really serve as advocates to help every resident get what they need in the way of healthcare services.
Paula Pentel.
Yes, I'm very glad that we have this Affordable Care Act. This is going to help Hennepin County Medical Center to become more solvent. In the past, there has been a lot of costs that the county has to absorb as uninsured folks show up, and it's the place of last resort. I think that some of the programs that the county has undertaken need to be rolled out more in the next couple of years. The Hennepin Health Program, which is this integrated care. It's between the Hennepin County Medical Center, the Metropolitan Health, folks North Point, offering one-stop shop wraparound services for individuals so that not only are they getting their health care taken care of, but some of their other social service needs. 40% of the budget of the county is in health and human services. So it behooves us to figure out how to do this in a way that involves the patients themselves, has them buy into their own health, and also makes sure that we are moving forward and making Hennepin County the healthiest county that we can. Thank you.
Roger Smithrud.
Could you read that back again?
Sure.
Please?
How can the county capitalize on the coming changes in healthcare?
Well, it depends on how the question was meant, whether it was capitalized financially or capitalized for the benefit of people in Hennepin County. I'd like to see that that was intended for the benefit of the people in Hennepin County to try and provide better services, to be able to provide dental care. You'd be surprised how many people have been running around for years with an abscessed tooth. They go into Hennepin County, and I've heard of it many times, they'll give them an antibiotic and some pain pills, and send them on their way. They got to schedule a dentist appointment. They can't get the tooth pulled, but yet they can get the antibiotics, which it's going to reoccur. We all know that. Why can't we just see about trying to take care of the problem, solve it so that the person doesn't have to come back multiple times? We need to improve the care for our people within the county. Thank you.
Blong Yang.
The promise of Obamacare is exciting, and here's why. There's a story recently about the folks in North Minneapolis. 68% of North Minneapolis is below the poverty line. If a person has their health care taken care of, that's going to be one barrier that they don't have to climb over, and that's going to help them to get employed, and I think that's a great thing. The other thing I want to point out is federally qualified health centers such as North Point Health and Wellness Center. I mean, those are places that we have to promote as a county to have just regular people on the streets show up at these places and to take care of the prevention of problems, because if we take care of prevention, it's going to cost less in the long run for emergency care, and I think that's something that we have to really think about. North Point Health and Wellness Center, that's essentially a county department, and we need to take care to promote that sort of.
I'll let you finish the sentence if you. Well,
we need to promote that.
Okay,
yes.
Great. All right, next is Leslie Davis.
The healthcare discussion is a terrific discussion. And I'm running for commissioner because I want to help people. That's what I'm all about. That's what I've done for the last 30 years when I gave up my $100,000 a year career to become an earth protector, was to help people. So on the one hand, here we are at the county graciously taking your money and giving it to some other people so they can go out and buy food loaded with sugar, salt, fat, and caffeine that makes them sick and uncomfortable and obese, and support the grocery stores into prevention and watching your diet and your exercise. So before I get, as a commissioner, into a discussion about economics and who's going to pay for what, I want to make sure that people are taking personal responsibility and making sure that they're watching their diet and they're exercising, and then we'll help them with whatever they need and whoever they are.
Steve Daler.
Thank you. The whole issue of the Obamacare or the bill, my guess is it was probably about 6 feet tall. No one in the United States has ever read it, except maybe a couple people. How are we going to capitalize on what's in it? I don't know that everybody knows what is in it yet. If you're going to get to know me as a county commissioner, you're going to get to know me as one who would use common sense when it comes to decisions that we make at the county level. One of the ways that I can imagine we would capitalize is all of the employees that work for the county pay into health care. I don't know exactly what this bill is going to do, but there's a possibility that we will be able to charge the people in the county less for their health care because everyone has to have it. I don't know. It's a big issue.
Rolf Erickson.
Our country is carrying a tremendous debt load right now. It's only getting worse. Without a strong economy, there's not going to be any money for health care. We get 10% of our money at Hennepin County approximately from the federal government. My plan would be to strengthen ourselves locally here through employee incentive plan and also possibly foundationalizing some of the hospitals so that we could get more services for the money that we're spending now. If the money from the federal government is cut back, we're going to be in big trouble here. If we make the hospital more self-sufficient, the doctors are able to spend more time with patients instead of doing paperwork. Nurses are able to spend more time with patients, and we're more efficiently able to use what we have. I believe that's the answer for the future.
We are on question 5, and it starts with Tonia. The county has undertaken several large planning projects under the Hennepin Works program. What is your experience with complex planning and development projects?
It's in depth. No. The county and these projects, yeah, well, that's what they do. That's one significant role. What is my experience? Well, I have a lot. We had to rebuild the Golden Valley Bridge, which everybody likes. It looks good. It's a process that should be open to the public. It's a process where it does require more of a community works type of plan to go alongside with it. Also, Lowry Bridge, we worked on that when I was in Stingline's office, and we were at the front end making sure that the road got rebuilt and also bicycle lanes were included. So I guess the question's not really asking me anything in specific other than my experience on complex projects, and it sounds like it's coming out of Public Works. Am I correct, or is there more to the question? Is there anything else?
I think there's opportunity to speak about the Hennepin Works program and then in general the experience with planning and development.
That covers it, and the county with the Hennepin Works, as long as it's tied to making sure you have adequate community buy-in, because just
I'm going to have to stop
Oh,
you.
okay, I didn't even hear the little...
I usually let one sentence complete, and then we'll stop there. So next is Kathleen Murdock.
I have had a great deal of experience over my career with complex planning and development projects. I began my career in the county's Office of Planning and Development, and we were involved in strategic planning for throughout Hennepin County. I was also involved in actually creating the county's Department of Community Corrections and Rehabilitation, and that was a lengthy process where we had to get buy-in from both the county board and the bench. I have staffed numerous committees and task forces over the years and developed many recommendations for how we can improve the delivery of county services. For many years, I prepared the county's community corrections plan. So this is a strength that I would bring to this position.
All right. Paula Pentel.
Yes. The Housing Community Works and Transit is actually the area, the division under which these Hennepin Works projects are undertaken. And recently, Penn Avenue from Cedar Avenue on the south all the way up to 44th on the north has been named a new Hennepin Works project. What that will look like is yet to be seen. I have a long history of working on complex projects. As a planning commissioner, I was the vice chair of 2 task forces in Golden Valley that resulted in our Golden Valley Town Center and our Golden Valley Commons areas, which were complex, involving multiple developers, involving a lot of existing infrastructure and complex financing. My background in planning and in zoning helps me a lot, and my understanding of public works projects and the complexities there in budgeting are also assets that I would bring to these large planning projects. But in particular, I want to make sure that we have citizen involvement that is real, citizen involvement that starts at the grassroots in order to build the vision for what these projects should look like.
Roger Smithrud.
Well, from my experience, it's hard to turn around and get the people to listen at what you want to do, and they're trying to get a project and they're trying to do it their way. I would want and try to push towards getting increased community involvement, the ability for them to take the ideas, suggestions, recommendations from the citizens in the area. If you don't listen to the people may have a better idea than what you even come up with. It might be a better idea than what the whole plan was. It may turn the whole plan into a different plan. Within that area, I do know that there's been requests for community-owned food co-ops for food and other things within that general area that's been brought up. Thank you.
Blong Yang.
A couple of months ago, I sat through a meeting for the Lowry Bridge. A lot of the discussion was just on sheer minutia, a lot of painful details. And I think here's the thing, if we want community involvement, if we go through that minutia, if we go through that pain, most people are just going to tune out and not be a part of it. And I think that's the thing. The challenge of county government is to make government simpler for people so that people can understand what's being talked about and why it's important to them. At the end of the day, the experts, the staff on Hennepin County are going to do the things that they're good at. But for the most part, we need to make things simpler for people so that people really know what's being built. People really know what's the benefit to them. And if we're going to do that, we need to really understand this. If county government gives people expectations on how things are going to be done, county government needs to deliver on that. And I think that's what Hennepin County really needs to do, especially with the Lowry Bridge in particular. Just get it done already, really.
Leslie Davis.
Big projects in Hennepin County. Would you build a ballpark right under the stacks of the largest garbage burner in the Midwest? I mean, that's Hennepin County kind of the city. I mean, just think of the mentality of that. So I sued him on that. And the judge said, well, in order for your lawsuit to go forward, Mr. Davis, you'll have to post a $44 million bond because you're delaying an important project. I said, yeah, Judge, but they're building it under the stacks of this toxic polluting burner that some people running for county commissioner think ought to burn even more garbage. So if that's not bad enough, they come my block. I live on Lowry Avenue. They come along and they want to repair the Lowry Bridge. Well, if you have a kid with a broken leg, you don't kill the kid or throw him away. You fix the leg. So the Lowry Bridge, they tear that baby down. I watched them blow it up and spend $104 million to build a bridge that's 4 lanes, that goes into 2 lanes, goes to 4, that goes to 2, that goes to 4. The stupidest thing you ever saw. You wouldn't hire those people to do any kind of work for you. In Hennepin Works, they need to get rid of that whole crew.
Steve Daler.
Complex projects. My experience at county level projects would be nil, actually. The most complex project that I've ever worked on is I've got 2 daughters and I helped raise them. I do know that by the time they have public input into a lot of projects, the decisions are made already and the project is going forward. The only reason they have public input is because they're required to by law. That is not good. I would include the community a lot earlier and get projects done quicker. I was a grocer in the beginning of my career, and I did a total remodel of my grocery store while I kept open, changed the aisles from one direction to another. So that was a very complex project, but not on the county level. I would always use common sense in making my decisions.
Rolf Erickson.
We need to take care of what we have now. I would encourage a systematic program of maintaining, repairing, and possibly improving the infrastructure we have. I also would propose to hold quarterly town hall meetings in all the areas and discuss the infrastructure in each of the areas with the citizens there and find out what was exactly wrong with them and deal with them that way. I'm not looking to do complete rebuilds, complete streets, and other things like this. I think that this whole area has a wonderful system of bike paths and other things now, and I think we need to focus on what we have. So, thank you.
Linda Higgins.
Well, it's clear from listening to all the candidates that Hennepin County needs to do a much better job of talking to the citizens first and engaging the citizens before big decisions are made on building projects and a whole lot of other things. Specifically to the question, what have I done in projects about Hennepin County Works projects? I brought $9 million home for the Humboldt Greenway in the second year I was in the Senate. And just a couple years ago, I brought home $37.5 million to go toward the building of the Lowry Bridge. What we find now is that no unit of government can build these big projects all by themselves. It takes a combination of city, state, county, and federal funding if you're going to take down a more than 100-year-old bridge and replace it. And I have been collaborating with these other units of government for more than 16 years now.
All right, we're on question number 6, and I just want to take a minute here and do some housekeeping. We're going to try to start closing statements at 25 after, so we might have time for at least one question, if not two. We did start a little late tonight, just a few 7 minutes late, so we might just slush over a little bit past our 8:30 mark, so we'll try to get in 2 more questions. This next question is going to start with Kathleen, and essentially, it's a budget question. This is a time of stressed budget. What is your priority within the budgets, and where would you cut if you could?
That is an excellent question, and I do believe that families throughout this district are struggling economically, and we need to do what we can to keep the property tax levy flat, and that means cutting spending. And I think, my priorities in the county, one of my priorities is public safety issues. I think we need to continue to maintain, and we have a number of different departments in that area, county attorney, community corrections, but I also have seen over my years in the county, I think, many different ways that we can streamline services and do them more cost effectively. I know many families get involved with several different caseworkers, and I will stop there.
Paula Pentel.
Thank you. Well, I believe that the health and the safety of the residents of Hennepin County should be the top priority for the county. I support continuing our safety net services for county residents, and we need to prioritize our budgeting to make sure that those needs are being met. It's state mandated, and a good portion actually of those needs are being met through tax dollars. I do think that we need to be able to continue to have our infrastructure projects. It's been actually through this economic downturn, the county, I think, has done a pretty good job of continuing to innovate on the social service side while they are still undertaking some very large infrastructure projects that bring jobs to county residents. In terms of safety, I think that we need to make sure that the police force, the sheriff's department is funded at a level where we keep attrition down and we are able to get the investment that we put into our officers to pay back and not have attrition of our deputies as they enter that system.
Roger Smithrud.
Could you rephrase that one more time? I want to make sure my answer fits the question.
In this time of stressed budgets, what are your priorities, and would you cut, or where would you cut?
Well, first I'd look at the programs that we currently have. Are they actually doing what they say they're doing? Are they actually worth our money spending on it? And start cutting there. And then look for replacement programs. Hopefully they can provide the same service at a lower rate, and that actually benefits the people. We need to turn around and start having things work for the people. I believe this position is also a good representation of something I heard as a kid as I was growing up. Government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, and for the people. But we need to bring it back to the people because government has become the government for the government. And we need to start bringing it back to the needs of the people. Thank you.
Blong Yang.
I want an effective and efficient county government that gets things done. And by being effective and efficient, we can save some money. But outside of that, though, we need to think about government in a different way. We need to run government, certain parts of government at least, as a business. We need to try to make money from government. I know that sounds crazy, but government needs to try to make some money in some parts as well. But the question is with regard to what budget issues do we have, and I'm just going to say this. You know, if you think we have budget issues now, in 2040, we're going to have much bigger issues. In 2040, 40% of Hennepin County is going to be people of color. In 2040, the senior population is going to double. And that's something that we need to really prepare for now. We need to plan for the future. We need to think about those things, because if we don't think about those things, imagine how painful it will be in 2040.
Leslie Davis.
You know, you try to cut somebody's program, and pretty soon all their constituents show up, and everybody starts screaming and hollering, because that's what it's all about. You know, that's what everybody votes. When they go in to vote, they vote their pocketbook. Because when you wake up in the morning, got to give the kid lunch money for school. You got to have money to pay to get on the bus. When you leave here tonight, you'll be able to pick up my plan called the Davis Water Plan that brings in $80 million in fresh money. Talks about my money plan, my energy plan, education plan, the health plan. How people are going to require less health care because they can take care of themselves. So you're not going to be able to cut back anybody's program, but we need to get, there's more people working, earning money, paying taxes, paying into the pot, so we don't have to cut back people's program. That's just not going to happen in Hennepin County.
Steve Daler.
Thank you. I want our county to begin looking at itself not as a funding source, but as a life-giving force. We need to begin by laying out a 30-year plan so that we know in 30 years what we want to look at, what we want to look like. Safety, in my mind, is one of the most important aspects, because if we don't feel safe in our homes or on our streets, we're gonna move elsewhere. We have the ability to live wherever we want, and to some respects, and having people move because they don't feel safe where they live would cause havoc for with our tax base. One of the things that we got to look at too from the county level is all the unfunded mandates that are coming from the state and the federal government. We don't necessarily need to cut. We need to get the mandates that are given to us paid for by the federal and the state government.
Rolf Erickson.
First thing I do when I'm elected is to ask to cut the county commissioner salaries by a minimum of 10%, probably more, and cut some of the benefits that they have. I believe in setting a good example, and I think that would be a way to set a good example. The second thing that I would do, I believe that an incentive plan that I've mentioned before to reward employees for having good ideas that would streamline the government and make things work better would save the county at least 15%. So that I would use that incentive plan to do that. And then the last thing that I would do is look at what we're doing currently that we could actually do better and do without. But without having the employees on board in the county, you're not going to really change things very much. You need to have the employees working together with the citizens to change things. Thank you.
Linda Higgins.
There are ways that we should look at reforming our government, streamlining our government. And I think the people who might know that best are the people who work for our government, our county employees. Every day they see things that just make no sense to them, and they wonder why they have to do it. If our county commissioners listened to what their employees would tell them if they were asked, I believe that we would have some great ideas from very, very smart, very capable, very creative people. I think the two most important areas, back to the question, are the health and the safety of our communities. We know that people who have health issues cost a lot in county government. Let's work to make sure that they can be more healthy, that the families are healthy, that their communities are healthy.
Tonia.
Okay, I will answer the question because I think it's fair to the audience. They want to know where we would cut. I definitely would cut the administration first. I worked at Hennepin County. I think paying a commissioner $97,000 a year is too high. I really do. I know for a fact what they do day to day, and it doesn't warrant $97,000. I'm sorry. It just simply doesn't. So I would start right there. And then I would go and look at some of the other inflated salaries that are just so more than the county commissioner. You have some of those administrators making $120,000 a year. I would really start cutting right there. Then what I would also do is to make sure that when we are vendoring out services, to put in place, and they already do, but it's not enforced, pay performance, meaning the vendors would not receive a lump sum up front. They would receive just a certain percent, and then we would, the staff would review to make sure they're performing, meaning they are meeting outcomes, meaning we do see an improvement in quality of life and a reduce in disparities. That's how I would start.
All right, we're going to try to fit a seventh and final question in here, starting with Paula Pentel. The question is, what role do you believe Hennepin County Board plays in creating jobs in Hennepin County?
The board in and of itself is not in the business of providing jobs per se. However, the creation and retention of well-paying jobs means that Hennepin County needs to retain their employees as well as invest in capital projects. And this public sector development can be an important part of the development scene. But we need to also look at the labor practices of the contractors that are being hired. We need to think about whether we are going for the lowest responsible bid. That is, are the people who are getting these contracts paying a livable wage? Are they paying, and additionally, if we're entering into some public-private partnerships, we need to make sure that these, that our ideas about labor practices are carried through at that level. So I think that in terms of providing jobs, job training needs to be paramount as well for those dislocated workers, and making job training that is going to lead to and is connected to the places where folks are hiring. So I think that it's looking at how the county itself is handling job training as well.
Roger Smithrud.
That's right. By the time we get the question.
What role do you believe Hennepin County Board plays in creating jobs in the county?
Well, like it was said, Hennepin County doesn't actually, commissioners don't create the actual job, but they create the job, a potential job opening, and hopefully we can, through our contracts, like hiring a company for bidding on doing the construction of a project, and we try and, the best I could think of is putting it into the contract, requiring them to pay livable wages out of the contract on their bid. Trying to mandate things within the contract. Look at the possibility of, let's say, having our roads with a warranty, like Germany does and other places. When they have something done, it's done with a warranty, or they come back and don't get paid in full. Thank you.
Blong Yang.
The county board may not create jobs, but they create the conditions for jobs to be created in the county. And I think that with regards to Hennepin County and the board definitely needs to play an important role in that, in creating jobs that are good for the residents of Hennepin County. And specifically for District 2, we have a stadium that's going to be built. The county commissioners can push for Hennepin County residents to be on those crews, to work on those jobs. And I think, that's the first step. Setting aside my opinion on the Viking Stadium, I certainly think that the county board does play an important role, and they should play an important role in that.
Leslie Davis.
The county commissioners play a huge role in job creation. The Hennepin County Commissioner is one of the most powerful positions in state government. The county has 22% of the population. They've got a budget about $1.5 billion or $1.6 billion, and we can implement the most important energy efficiency retrofit project, just like they did on the Empire State Building and are doing on buildings throughout the country, throughout Hennepin County. We'll create thousands of jobs. We'll create thousands of training jobs, because we don't have the workforce to do it. because of our poor education system. But we train the people and we put them to work in retrofitting private and governmental buildings throughout Hennepin County. So a Hennepin County commissioner that really follows the goal or the focus of the thing is to be a leader and to implement that and to encourage private investment in energy efficiency and conservation, just like they're doing all over the country. Need to get with it. I'm ready for the job.
Steve Daler.
The county's role at creating jobs is sort of twofold. One of them is working with developers and working with the local governments and the economic development that they have working within their cities to do what they can and do what's proper, using, again, common sense to help those development projects. Another thing they can do is maintain the staff that they do have. I work at the Hennepin County Jail, and there's a lot of really good training that goes on in the Sheriff's Department, but there's a lot of jobs that go elsewhere because the job at the jail isn't an easy one, and the salaries there need to be bumped up a little bit. Keeping the jobs we have, making the employees happy in the county is a good, positive way of doing the right things for maintaining our own jobs. It costs a lot of money to keep on training new people.
Rolf Erickson.
What I would do is encourage the reform of the property tax system. Now, I say this because business climate in Minnesota is terrible. Businesses right now pay the most taxes of any type of property. They pay for the schools. They pay for all kinds of other things. How are we going to have jobs if people don't want to start a business here and they go over to South Dakota or North Dakota? So that's one thing I would do is just work with everyone I could, state, local officials, to reform the property tax system and get the tax classifications more equal. Second thing I do is partner with unions, banks, and businesses to create a small micro business loan program. Third thing I do is work with the unions to bring streetcar manufacture here for this light rail that we already have. It's done in Seattle, and it could be done here.
Linda Higgins.
One of the most important things that the county can do for creating jobs is to make sure that there are aggressive workforce hiring goals in all the building projects that they are a part of, whether they're the lead or whether they're one of the partners. We need to make sure that the goals for women and minority-owned businesses are aggressive, that the disadvantaged business enterprises are part of that they are also getting the tax dollars that they are indeed paying. The county also plays a good role in working with some of the job skills training organizations. For example, Summit Academy, OIC, has the 100 Hard Hats program. And just the other day, they rolled out the very first camper cabin that they built on behalf of the Department of Natural Resources, the state DNR. They got to learn how to build use their new skills in building these things, and the DNR gets these great camper cabins that families can use in our state parks.
Tonia Johnson.
Okay, the county does play a role in creating jobs, and you have to think of it like this. Every time the county vendors out its services to, most likely it will be a nonprofit, in that is a creation of a job, because you have to have someone there to be able to do the job in the contract, if you understand what I'm saying. Also, the public works is a big area where the county does create jobs now. What the problem is that the jobs just don't trickle throughout District 2. It gets bogged down. There's a lot of politics at play, and you're correct. We do have to have more. The county board would have to be very aggressive in making sure when projects are up for bid, whether it's a bridge or a road, to make sure that there's opportunity for everybody to apply for those jobs, not just getting stuck in a union, because that happens quite a bit, where just union people get these jobs.
Kathleen Murdock.
The county board plays a huge role in helping residents who are struggling become employable, and there are several examples of job initiative type programs in the county. I mean, one that comes to mind that I think has been exceptional is our homes program, where offenders are actually trained as carpenters, and they go through a whole apprenticeship program and then are put to work rehabbing houses in the county that have been foreclosures, and it puts those houses back on the tax rolls. So that's an exceptional program. And I wanted to mention that I think the county in itself is a good employer, but I think we need to do a better job of hiring more diversity, more people of color from all different backgrounds, and I'll stop there.
All right, we're going to move on to closing statements. We have 1 minute each. We drew orders beforehand. We're going to kick it off with Steve in just a moment here. Would it help for me to read the order that you drew? No. Okay, so we're just going to keep moving. I'm also at the very end, we're going to turn it over to Gloria Erickson. You're going to hold your applause. She's going to speak about when this is going to be replayed on the different cable channels. But first, we're going to start with, again, Steve, 1 minute closing statements.
Thank you. My name is Steve Daler, and I want to be your next county commissioner in District 2. I want the county to begin to look at itself as not as a funding source, but as a life-giving force. That's what the county is for. We need to begin by laying out a 30-year plan. That would be one of my first priorities. I also think that a good priority, and where I would focus immediately on, would be helping to maintain the quality of our present public safety personnel, the equipment, the facilities, and working with the cities and the counties and the federal government to bring in money that they're mandating, deal with the unfunded mandates. So appreciate your support on August 14th. My name is Steve Daler, and I ask for your vote.
Kathleen Murdock.
I want to thank the League for sponsoring this forum, and all of you in the audience for your great questions. I grew up in Golden Valley, lived here the first 20 years of my life, and have now lived in Plymouth for over 20 years. I have the knowledge and experience of Hennepin County government to lead the county in a fiscally conservative direction. And I also have, because of that experience, some innovative ideas of how we can provide more cost-effective county services to better serve our residents. And thank you.
Paula Pentel.
Thank you. I'm Paula Pentel, and I have to say, as I read the mission of the county, I think of my years of public service, and the mission of the county to act in a respectful, efficient, and fiscally responsible way is how I have conducted myself as an elected official here in the city of Golden Valley, and how I would conduct myself as a county commissioner. As a county commissioner, I am particularly interested in expanding early childhood family education so that all Hennepin County children arrive at kindergarten school ready. Additionally, I would push to continue bringing services out of downtown Minneapolis and into the communities where folks are living, and make it easier for people to get to those services. I understand the work of the county, and I have the knowledge, the interest, and the background and the personal attributes to be successful in this position. My proven nonpartisan leadership and experience, my city roots, my suburban experience make me uniquely qualified for this position. I'm seeking your support in the primary on August 14th. You can visit me on the website at www.paulapentel.com.
Roger Smithrud.
Yes, I'd appreciate your support on August 14th. I'd like to turn around and also look at benefits that I can provide is that I would be looking at trying to follow the laws and regulations that were set up by the state, federal, and city, and try and follow those guidelines that were set up, and not try to implement their own regulations that already do exist within the contracts, and require that the laws are currently followed that are already established. We don't need to have people making rules and regulations that don't follow with our current laws. You want something built, you got to do it right. I've got a lot of different ways, alternative energies. I've got a whole plan. I've had it for a few years. Thank you.
Blong Yang.
Before I begin, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for this forum tonight. Most of us know who the front runner in this race is. I'm going to tell you that I am the face of an underdog, and being the underdog here means that I will work my tail off to get your vote, to win, and to serve you. I am running for Hennepin County Commissioner in order to make government work more efficiently and effectively for the well-being of everyday residents. The Hennepin County Board has never had a person of color serve as county commissioner. We need to change that. I've been fortunate to be the beneficiary of essential county services. I'm uniquely positioned to provide a voice on the county board that is representative of the many constituents that we serve. I'm tired of seeing career politicians play musical chairs with political offices. It's time for a change in District 2. It's time for a fresh voice, bold vision, new leadership. It's time for representation that reflects Hennepin County. District 2 deserves more, and it deserves better.
Rolf Erickson.
Thank you for the opportunity to appear here tonight before all of you. I am new to government. I don't know everything, but I know how to listen and I know how to work with people, as I have worked with citizens for the last 38 years. I'll promise you a government that serves the people, not one that is served by the people. Thank you.
Linda Higgins.
I'm Linda Higgins. I'm a tested, proven leader with 16 years experience at state government. I work across party lines, but I don't play games. I'm skilled at crafting achievable outcomes that can lead to compromise. I have strong relationships with advocates, citizens, elected officials in Hennepin County and throughout the state. I'm an experienced problem solver, and I listen more than I talk. I'm a bridge builder, I'm a community builder, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Two more left. We have Tonia Johnson.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for bearing with us. We've been here for a while. I am running for Hennepin County Commissioner because Hennepin County does need new leadership. And they need new leadership that's innovative, that's creative, that's already served the residents of District 2. I am the only candidate who has already worked on the County Board of Commissioners, working with very, very complex projects and constituency issues and service delivery issues. Also, you have an opportunity to decide and to elect someone who you truly feel who will represent you and represent you well. And I really think that many of you came here because you know you have to make a decision. And I also think many of you are ready for the change. I really do, or else you wouldn't be here. And I welcome your support on August 14th. My name is Tonia Johnson. I'm the right candidate for the right reasons, and I'm in this race to win. Thank you.
Leslie Davis.
Thank you for attending this forum, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for arranging it. We must change the course we're on, and you know it, because it's unsustainable. Riddled with debt that the banks can call at any time. And what are you going to do then? You won't be able to pay debt with debt and get out of debt. So what then? Now you've heard what I have to say, and you're armed with what you need to rescue the county and save America. Because if you don't, it's going to be the same old, and we're going to go down the tubes. So with Leslie Davis as your commissioner, there will be life after death. In closing, there are limits to what a candidate can give to a citizen, but the great book that I wrote is within those limits, according to the Campaign Finance Disclosure Board. So I'd like you to pick up a copy on the way out. In it, you'll find the Davis plans that will rescue America. Thank you very much for the opportunity to appear here tonight.
All right, again, we're going to have Gloria Erickson come up and mention when we can watch the replay.
On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Golden Valley, I would like to thank all of our candidates for being here tonight. And a special thank you to Jennifer Schaefer for moderating. decision. Also, I would like to thank Northwest Community Television for making it possible to view this event at home. The replay dates airing on Channel 12 are as follows. Sunday, July 29th, 8:30 and 11 p.m. and Tuesday, July 31st at 8:30 and 11 p.m. If you are interested in learning more about League of Women Voters, there are brochures on the table. League members will be happy to discuss League activities with you, and we would love to have you join us. I would like to invite all of you to stay for refreshments and conversations with the candidates. Above all, remember to vote Tuesday, August 14th. And at this time,